Hello, we're blue today. We have blue glasses, a blue sweater, and I've been compelled to knit blue things. I'm in the blue energy. I don't know what this means. Okay, so today we're going to talk about enmeshment as a strategy. Long ago, when I decided the kind of career I wanted, I was like, I just want people to be like standing around in a crowd and go, Paula, tell us of pancakes, and to just come up with random things because that's how information comes to me. And pay attention to your downloads today because, oh my gosh, I think Mercury is lined up with the galactic center or something like that. Molly McCord, I've been listening to her lately. She's really good. So there's something with Gemini and Sagittarius and the galactic center, and there's like lots of insight coming through. So here's my download. And I don't know, I sort of want to apologize for the fact that I don't seem to have like one cohesive thing on my platform. I just kind of share things as they come through. And I have been having this contemplation about enmeshment and that sort of thing. So 9s on the Enneagram. Okay, so I'm just going to explain to you a little bit about strategy. Every single typology has a strategy for survival. As a child, when survival is the number one thing, and there are all kinds of psychological, emotional, physical threats. So the strategy of a 3, okay, because I came on this insight that my brother, the third child and the youngest for a period of 5 years, came into a family where they needed to use him. Everyone needed to turn him into an ally, so they used him. And because he's a 3, his strategy was to use them back, to learn how to use people. And my strategy, so I ended up, a couple kids later, same family. And my strategy was to disappear. I'm a 9, to comply, to become water to my container, to fill up in the exact shape of people's expectations of me and to strive to meet those expectations. So there's this hypervigilant psychic awareness of my environment. So if you're a 9, if you are an intuitive, if you are an empath, if you're a peacemaker, caretaker, any of those, for whatever reason, this is going to fit you. So the 9, I think, is more, this is my insight, the 9 is more vulnerable to never differentiating in the world. I think enmeshment is a massive problem. I think the caretaking program is global, and I'm going to talk about how we're extricating ourselves from that on a massive scale and what the risks are and what the archetypes are. I mean, the prostitute archetype, according to Carolyn Moose, should be read by everyone because it's the protector of faith, which says, I have faith that if I stand in my integrity and I speak my truth on the job site, that if I lose my job, God will take care of me, but I'm not going to sacrifice my integrity, not going to sacrifice my truth. So that prostitute archetype comes in handy in all kinds of little hidden ways. How am I going to prostitute my truth to stay safe? So back to the 9. So the other types, I think, their strategy includes a kind of like they have to learn differentiation in a way. And all of a sudden, I'm just like, okay, how can I be this old and not have figured out how not to be enmeshed with people? And suddenly I'm like, oh my God, I can let myself off the hook because this has been a strategy for survival that I have carried and carried and carried and carried into my life. It doesn't mean that I haven't developed some sort of self-definition, some kind of self-knowledge, some kind of self-determination, clarity about who I am and my gifts and my issues. But in terms of relationship, it is the strategy for survival. And I've really been confronting the what am I afraid of? And this is something that I really want to address to the community at large and to the world. Like, the mask wearing is the perfect example. No matter what you believe politically, if you are of the persuasion that masks really don't do anything, and you choose to wear one into a store, tell me why. Why are you doing that? Well, I just don't want the hassle. Okay, you're afraid of disapproval. You're afraid of confrontation. Every single time that I have said, okay, granted, I have a reason. I say I have a condition and I can't wear one. There's just no pushback. Even recently, even in Boulder, Colorado, no pushback. They're just like, okay, because they're tired of policing. It's not their job. And that's healthy for them to be like, I don't want to police people anymore. Okay. Just on an individual level. So even if they have to police, their truth is like, I'm not going to do that anymore. Okay, if you don't wear a mask because, well, you don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable, you're caretaking their fear based on a delusion. You're not sticking true to what's true for you. And if we would all just en masse live according to what we believe is true in a kind and respectful way, you can respectfully not wear a mask. This would have ended so long ago because, okay, give yourself a pass or be gentle with yourself. Let's all be gentle with ourselves because it's how the controllers have run this entire planet is with the caretaking program. They're the narcissists. They're not human, but they have trained the human elite to become narcissists, to die to to their compassion. Got to eliminate that. You know, in Nazi Germany, what they would require the soldiers to do and what they would be heavily rewarded for and not punished if they did something that killed their conscience and numbed out their humanity. Because if you're going to create a narcissist, you can't have that compassion thing in there. So, anyway, you know, on a mass scale, that's what's been happening. And so, on a mass scale, we're taking our power back. So, I actually, okay, this is a really powerful download about the return to authentic self, the return to one's truth. I have been practicing holding my center in a way that I have never done before on a molecular, moment to moment level, like taking a walk with somebody and having them say something that I disagree with vehemently because they're saying something about me and what I should do. And I'm like, okay, that's where she's at. And this is where I'm at. I don't have to get angry and I don't have to whatever. She can be where she's at. She can think what she wants to. That's part of her story and her unfoldment. I don't know about that. I know about my truth and I can hold it in a gentle and loving way. And then later come back around and talk about that moment and say, this is differentiation and this is me practicing differentiation and this is my story. And this is how I think about what you just said. This is my response, not my reaction. This is my response. You know, and then immediately there was an ownership of, oh, that this is why I said that. It was about me, not about you. So holding a gentle, clear differentiation that's non-aggressive can really help others to find the same thing. It was a beautiful moment. It was a really powerful day. And I got this moving forward card, like being productive with your projects card. And I was like, what does that mean? Because I don't feel like I'm going to be productive. And that was it. It was like, my guides are like, that was the most important thing that happened today. It was huge. So I'm sorry, I was on my way to saying something about how, oh, the mirror ball. So this is thanks to Annette. We were talking about all of this the other day, and she said, you know, this is the I am the dot in the center of a sphere meditation. And in this giant mirror ball, okay, think of a disco ball, and there's a tiny little square mosaic covering it. Well, on the interior, every one of those little squares is someone looking at you, and it is their reflection of you. It is their story about you and perception of you, even people who love you. And I think differentiation and holding one's center is to acknowledge that they're all there, but that there's a distortion in every single one of them. And for a moment, can you blank them all out? And then what you're left with is one reflection. This is what my friend said. I thought this is what Annette said. Very insightful. You have one square left, and it's your perception of yourself, which is an amalgamation of all of the others and who knows what. That's the worst one and the most important one to get rid of, or at least to develop some detachment from it and realize that it's not you, it's a reflection of you, it's a concept of you. I want to share briefly an experience that I had after doing the 90-10 medbed, which I'm going to pursue and I've talked about before. It's this quantum healing thing. We all have access to the quantum. We don't need this 90-10 medbed program, but I feel like it's of use to me in the meantime while I'm developing this connection to the quantum realm and developing my unique connection to it. That's what I want to say about that. Nonetheless, after I did this one day, I went out to a natural area and I was looking at a stream. And my intention with the medbed that day was to release programs, and they went straight to my head, and I felt them changing my skull and my brain. My skull actually was in a slightly different shape because my eyes had to relearn how to focus. They just slightly shifted positions. So as a result, for whatever reason, I was looking at the stream and I realized that I had always looked at the stream before, I don't know, from a certain age, maybe 5, through the lens of my concept of a stream, which includes the word stream, all the stories about streams. Have you ever noticed when you get together with friends and you're enjoying a sumptuous meal, you tend to talk about other meals that you've enjoyed? Instead of just like enjoying the meal that you're having, because you're into concept of tasting good. Anyway, so I had the opportunity to see the stream in a completely unmediated way, free of the concept of a stream. And it was just so spontaneous, spontaneously arising and fresh. And when the majority of the time we're out of sync with the appropriate flow of time. We call it time, but it's really experience. And we're either rushing it or resisting it. We're pushing the flow or we're holding it back. We're leaning into the future with anxiety or holding to the past with regret and depression. Or if it's a happy moment, we're in this anxiety that we won't get to really experience it because we're in our heads, and then you have anxiety and you're not present. There's so many obstacles to being present. But for this one moment, there was no concept, and it was just like, wow, I'm experiencing the stream. I'm experiencing this flow of water, this organic event. And there was a kind of a lack of separation between me and it. It was so incredibly rich. It's like I was inside the experience. Like there was no I. I mean, there was, but not like usual. And I've been listening to stories about near-death experience. And when you listen to those, you are translated. Whatever vibration you're listening to, you're getting entrained to it. You're being influenced by it. So I'm watching those lately to get entrained, re-entrained to what is it like to be in the vestibule of heaven, a higher dimension where there's just pure love and there's no obstacle to being oneself. The last two I've listened to are amazing because they both said something like, I was filled with a much more pure sense of self. I could be myself in an unmitigated way. Here, I'm fractured. I'm fractalated. I have this ego concept of myself that has a need to protect, to defend, to guard, to attack, to own, to possess, to pee on my territory. It's like the ego is like, we have to do the work of being. And it's like, well, get rid of the chair in the pod in the movie Contact. That's the ego. I'm here, goddammit. And that chair was just like, and they finally got rid of the chair, and then she's just floating. Perfect peace. So coming to an experience, an unmitigated, unmediated, meaning there's no mediator in the middle to interpret. The mind is a filter. It's a fascinating filter. It's like words in this communication is like a facsimile of truth, and it's like art. It's really cool, but it's not the moon itself. It's the finger pointing at the moon. But, that filter that mediates our experience of something in order to not be enmeshed and caretaking and to feel a victim of someone else's concept of me, a victim of a hero, a controller, someone else's concept of you is meaningless, but the ego feeds on it. I need you to think I'm special. I need you to think I have more power than you. I need you to think I have less power than you. I need you to feel sorry for me. I need you to worship me. Isn't that so stupid? I need you to feel and think a certain way about me. Neither one is real, Here's a real person and here's a real person, and then here's all this shit in between that's just like, it's nothing. It's nothingness. It's concept. So try this with me. This mantra. I'll explain what the words mean when we're done. And I'm going to put actions to it because it helps. So if you want to follow along, it's kind of cool. It's kind of a cool experience. This is the offering of a container, which is conducive to having an experience. That's what ritual is. It's a container that's conducive to authentic experience. It's all religion is. Okay, it's just a good intention. Of course, it's been misused. But anyway. Okay. Gobinde. Mukunde. Udare. Apare. Hariyum. Kariyum. Nirname. Akame. I think this has been having an impact on me because Gobinde, I look to the left because I put these up on my mirror. Gobinde is the sustainer of all creation. Okay, you are also all of these concepts, the sustainer, Gobinde. Mukunde is the liberator. Udare, Mukunde is like truth, your truth. You are your own liberator when you realize the truth. Spirit of truth is always in the act of liberating. Isn't that wonderful? Mukunde, Udare, the energy is uplifting, supporting the messenger of truth, the messenger, the guide, the comforter. Udare. Everything's going to be okay. I love you. You're wonderful. You're wise. You can do this. Udare. Apare. Infinite. Infinite. The quantum field, quantum, comes from the question quantus, which means how much? How much? How much do you want? Apare. It's infinite. You're infinite. Well, you're infinite. No, you're infinite. Okay. Hariyum, the destructive principle. Death. Completion. Ending. Harvest. It can be done now. Something is over. Hariyum. Isn't that peaceful? It's like fall, it's like death, it's winter, it's rest. Kariyum, the creator. I have an idea. I am the spark of divine creation and I have this idea. Kariyum, creation. Something new is being born. Nirname, the nameless, no name, that which is without name. The essence, the ineffable, the isness, the presence. That which cannot be named, this is the Tao. That which can be named is not the Tao because it's limited. You are Nirname. Nothing can name you but the nameless because you're nameless. Think of that. Nirname. No one can name me. In that mirror ball, when my reflection is gone, I am a ball of light, and the only one who is capable of naming me, knowing who I am and what I am, is the divine. Macrina Whitaker, Christian mystic, said, "Lord, show me who I am. Tell me the news about myself, and I'll try to accept it no matter how wonderful it is." Nirname and Akame. 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 Alone, in itself, desireless. Self-sufficient, complete. I don't need anything from anybody. Stream doesn't need me to think something of it. It's Akame. I am Akame. You are Akame. God is Akame. Everything is Akame. Just is what it is. So let's try it again from the top. Gobinde, Mukunde, Udare, Apare, Hariyun, Kariyun, Nirname, Akame. Merry Krampus.